Hi guys and gals of World of Warcraft, Weasel Jr. here, and this is a basic setup for Trade Skill Master 3 on how to post greens and cloth. So for those of you who are farming dungeons and getting a bunch of greens and cloth as you're trying to make gold, you're probably having problems posting them on the auction house. Well, if you use Trade Skill Master, you can take all these items and post them in under a minute once you have things set up. Now I'm going to be setting this up for use on a banker toon, which is a toon that you use to post auctions and have backspace to deal with the sheer amount of auctions while you bring in gold off the auction house. Now to start a banker toon, you just make any toon and run it to the auction house. Netherweave bags will be a good start with 16 slots, but with the sheer amount of items that I've been getting from farming dungeons making videos, I had to quickly upgrade to 30 slots just to speed things up at the mailbox and posting items on the auction house. The more bag space you got, the quicker things can go. Okay, to bring up Trade Skill Master, type /TSM, or you can click a mini map button up here in the mess that I have going on. I will say that when you make changes to Trade Skill Master, you should log off, whether they are minor or big adjustments. You should log off, because if your computer or if your account closes down with anything other than a normal log off, it will not save. So if your game crashes, you lose power, or any other thing like that other than selecting log out, you will lose all your information in Trade Skill Master, and that could be a couple hours worth of time that go poof. Okay, now that you brought up Trade Skill Master, let's start off by making a profile. Click Options, Profiles, then come down here to New and type in whatever name you want. I have a profile already set up, so I'm not going to be doing that. Now, after you make your profile, go to Groups, which is the crystals right here, and then in Group Name, type Banker Toon, or whatever group you want. This is going to be our main group, and we're going to fill it up with subgroups to make things on the auction house more organized. Okay, next up, to make it easier to mail things to your banker toon, click Operations and then scroll down, and where you see Mailing, click New Operation. We're going to name this Banker Toon, so that way we can take and easily mail items from one toon to the next. Now, click Target Player and make sure you spell your banker toon's name correctly. If you misspell it, it will go to this name that you enter. So if you by chance happen to enter Sales Team and you're on Emerald Dream, you're going to be sending my banker toon all your junk. So yes, make sure the name is correct, because once it gets going, it is automatic, and the only way to stop it is to close the mailbox and put in a ticket. Now, click the crystals on Groups, click Banker Toon, click the Operations tag, and scroll down and make sure that that new mailing operation we have is selected. That way you can be on any other toon, walk up to a mailbox, and you can hit the mailing option, and it will mail it to your banker toon. Okay, let's start by adding some subgroups. Now, I'm doing this so it's more organized on the auction house, and as you get things going, you will notice on how many options you can have, and it is best to organize things nice and neat, so that way you know what's going on easily. The first subgroup we're going to name is Cloth. This is so that way I can take and sell all my cloth on the auction house and get a good fair price for it. Click Enter. Now click Banker Toon again, click the Management tab, and make another subgroup, and we'll name this Armor and Weapons. Click OK, and now you'll see that we have two subgroups made. You'll also see in the parent ungrouped list there is everything in your bags on this list. Now I'm going to click Cloth, and you can take and scroll through and highlight all the cloth here, or you can go up and click the filter and type cloth in, or partial or full name of the item you're looking for in your bags, and hit Enter. It'll then search through and match it with the items, so that way you can quickly add all the cloth that happen to be in your bags. So there's all of the cloth that are currently in my bags added to the subgroup list for cloth. Now we're going to go to armor and weapons, and we're going to select everything, so that way we can put it in that armor and weapons subgroup to be put on the auction house. Now you can pick and choose the items that you want and don't want in the group. Click add to add it to the subgroup, and if you click something by accident, say like this blood pike, you can click remove and it'll put it back in the parent ungrouped items. We got to tell Trade Skill Master what to do with these items in the subgroup. On armor and weapons, click operations, and then click override module operations and create new operation. We're then going to make a new operation called weapons and armor, so that way things are nice and organized and we don't get confused. We can look at the new operation and see exactly what it's going to do by the name of it. Click post and you'll see that you can start entering all kinds of information. Under duration, you can select how long these auctions are going to be put up for. I usually leave mine at 24 or 48 hours. And the post cap. Now that is the number of items that we'll put up at a time. So say you have 2 swords from some coyote and you put those up and your post cap is 3, and when you go out and get 2 more and you go to put them up, it'll put 3 up and that 4th one will remain in your bag. Now since these are dealing with greens we get from loot and stuff, I do 2 or 3 for my post cap, and then if I get any extras I decide on what to do with them later. Now stack size we don't have to worry with. I'm not going to keep any of these in my bags, and if you leave max expires at 0, it will keep posting an item no matter how many times it expires. So you can set it to 5, and when it expires the 5th time, it will not be put on the auction a 6th time. Bid percent is the amount of percent of the full price that you want to be able to allow somebody to bid on. You can leave it at 100% if you want. I like putting it at 95%, so that way maybe somebody who's a little low on gold or something, or they want a little better deal, they can put a bid on it and save 5%. The undercut amount, you could set any amount that you desire. I leave it at 1 copper just because that'll make me the next lowest priced auction seller on the list. You can do 1 gold, you can do 5 gold, you can put whatever amount that you want to undercut by. Now is the minimum, maximum, and normal price. This is what you tell Trade Skill Master on how much you want to sell items for. Minimum price is the lowest amount of gold you're willing to accept for an item. Now you can do, when you click it, you'll see that price sources pop up, and if you type in \TSM space sources and you open up your chat and make it all nice and big, you can see a whole list of sources that you can enter into Trade Skill Master, and you can do percentages of sources and whatnot and get into complicated prices, which is what I generally tend to do with my greens and blues. Now there is no right or wrong for a minimum price. It's whatever you're willing to accept for the minimum amount of gold for whatever item. But since this group is for a banker toon and it's going to have many different levels of items, you might want to take some thought into putting into your minimum price. Now I'm going to enter my custom made, well, the price setting that I made for minimum price, which I will take and put in the comment section below. And basically what it does is it takes the max value of an item and figures out if it's worth more to disenchant, sell to the vendor, or 20% of that global price average that I use. And it'll choose the highest of the 3. And basically what it does is it protects me if, say, something is on the auction house for 5 gold, but it disenchants for 8 gold, it'll put it up for 8 gold. But if it turns around and that same item's vendor sells for 30 gold, it'll put it at 120% of its vendor sell. So it kind of protects me, and you know, it's a nice little fun little thing to help shotgun effect a whole wide ranges of other things. But you can do 10 gold minimum or 150% vendor sell. The choice is yours. Now, maximum price is the maximum amount of gold you're willing to sell an item for. You can do hard gold, you can do vendor sells, crafting, DB market. The choice is yours on how high you're going to sell the item for. For me, I'm going to do 450% of the global averages, and that's my max price for all these items. The highest they will go up for is what 450% of the average sale price globally. And for my normal price, I will do 100% of that average. And you can do any price source that you want. You can, you know, normal price, DB market, you know, so a lot of people, they put 120% DB market with a max price of 500% DB market. You know, the only problem with DB market is that's your realm. So something could be worth very little on your realm, but worth a lot worldwide. So once again, put in whatever price you feel comfortable with, and it's your choice. Next up is to tell TSM what to do when items are below your minimum price. You can either not post, post at minimum, maximum, ignore the items, or post at your normal. For majority of the time, I put post at minimum when it's below my minimum price, and if it happens to go above my maximum price, I'll post at my maximum. That's pretty much generally what you usually do, except for the few cases of you're wanting to raise the value of an item or whatnot. You can have it post at normal price, but that's your call. Quick little recap: minimum price is the minimum price you will accept for an item. Maximum price is the max price that you'll accept for it. And normal price is the price that it will go up for if there is none of that item on the auction house. So say there are none of these shimmering gloves of the owl, and it goes to post up, it'll put it at the normal price that I've entered here. And if there are gloves up that on the auction house, when it goes up, it'll undercut it by 1 copper, unless that item is either below or above our max price, at which time it'll do what we tell it to do right here. Now that we got this operation created, click groups, the crystals, click armor and weapons, click the operations tab, and it should have that operation already selected. If it doesn't, click the little down arrow and select weapons and armor. That's it. You've got it to where you can auction your greens and blues and whatever you put in that group. Now we're going to take and make a couple operations for cloth, and we're going to have it start by posting as many stacks of 20 as it can, and then it's going to switch to 10, 5, and 1. You can do the same thing with metal bars, stone, potions, or whatnot, following this example. So we're going to take and click operations, click override module operations, create new operation, and we're going to name this one cloth 20. So that way we know when we look at the operation name, it deals with cloth in stacks of 20. Click OK. It asks if you would like to associate it. Yes, you would. Now click over here under general. You'll see that it says ignore low duration auctions. I'm going to go ahead and click short, less than 30 minutes, which I should also do my weapons and armor also, as those are short. They're about to drop off. I don't really want to undercut them because they're about to expire. Now, Click post, and we have to enter the information for the cloth. First off, we're going to take and change the post cap to 200. That way it'll post up to 200 stacks of 20 in cloth. I'm going to put it up for 48 hours so that way it stays up for the longest amount of time. And we're going to change the stack size to 20. We're not going to keep any, so we don't have to worry about that. Leave max expires at 0. I'm going to go ahead and put bid percent at my favorite, 95%. We're going to undercut by 1 copper, and this is where things can get a little tricky. It took me a long while to figure out that these prices are per item, not per stack. And since we're dealing with cloth, with the exception of netherweave, fell cloth, ember silk, you know, that high value cloth, we're going to set our minimum price to 15 silver per cloth. Okay. Our maximum price, we're going to set at 18 gold. Now, I have seen it go that high, and there has been a few times where I've seen cloth go for a short duration at 300 gold or higher per stack of 20, and it's rare, but it happens. Now, for our normal price, we're going to put it at 2 gold, 50 silver. That way, if we're the only one posting, it will be at 50 gold per stack of 20. When below minimum, we'll have it post at our minimum. When above maximum, we'll have it post at maximum. And that is our cloth 20 operation. Now we're going to speed things up. We're going to click cloth 20, go over here in management, and we're going to duplicate the operation. Go ahead and put cloth 10 and hit copy, or whatever you want to name it. Then we're going to take and make another duplicate and name it cloth 5. And then we're going to make one more, and we're going to call it cloth single. Now, TSM orders things funky. You'll see cloth 10 fell way down below. It's because I didn't make it a capital C. You can fix it an operation and rename it by clicking rename operation and fixing your typo or changing the name, and there we go. Now that we have these set up, we're going to go in, click cloth 10, look at the post, and all we have to do is change the stack size. It copied the entire operation over, so we can quickly make multiple operations and just change one simple item. Now I'm entering the stack size to match the name that I've named it, so that a way we can get it going. Okay, click the crystals for groups, click the cloth subgroup, click operations, and you'll see we have cloth 20 set up for its operation. Now we're going to add additional operation, cloth 10, add additional cloth 5, and one more for cloth single. You can have up to 5 operations for one subgroup. If you need more than 5 operations, well, the only way that I know of is to make multiple profiles, which I've never had to do that because I've never needed more than 5 operations. But how I've set this up is this group will post as many stacks of 20s as it can, and when it runs out of 20s, it'll go with a 10 if there's enough for a 10. It'll go with a 5 if there's enough for a 5. And it'll fill up the remainders with a single. So, to cycle through all of these, you would need 39 cloth. 20, 10, 5, 4 singles. And that's how it sets up. And it works out really, really smooth when you're selling cloth on the auction house. Now, you can change the stack sizes to whatever you want. You know, 200s, 100s, 50s. 20s, and if you want to have a certain number of, say, 5 stacks, you make that first and you change the not the stack size, but the posting limit to the number that you want. But for me, I just go for all of it on the auction house in no particular order except for biggest to smallest. Now we're done setting up our banker toon to sell armors and weapons and cloth. if you were smart and had been following along as you set this up, which is what I had to do when I first got into Trade Skill Master, take and log out right now so that way everything you've done has been saved. Like I said, if your computer crashes, your WoW crashes, or anything other than a normal logout happens, all this information will be lost. And it can be pretty heartbreaking if you have been working on a very nice crafting transmog group. Trust me, I've been there. And before we go to the auction house, I'm going to take and show you how to post auctions even faster. Click TSM features, click macro setup, and spam the create macro button. What this is going to do is, if you leave it to these settings that I have, or you can choose whatever you want, when you go to post items, you hold control and you can spin your mouse wheel and have items go up really quick, and you don't have to spam click your mouse. Another thing we're going to do is, you may have noticed a few times during this video you heard a cash register sound every time I sold something. So click options, click MISC features, and you can enable auction sales feature. There's a whole bunch of sounds you can use, and every time you sell an item on an auction house, it'll ding. And if they buy a lot of stuff in a row really quick and they have, Trade Skill Master or something, it'll sound something like this. It's really fun. Okay, so let's head on over to the auction house. Mr. Martin, to the auction house, please. Okay, we're at the auction house, so let's open up the auction house. And it will pop up on whatever tab that you have it set to pop up to. If for some reason this screen is grayed out, your adventure guide is grayed out where you can't look at loot, or you go into your specializations and talents and you can't change out a glyph or whatnot, you can fix that by typing reload UI and reload your user interface. That fixes a lot of problems. And with Trade Skill Master 3, I haven't had that nearly as often as I had with 2. Now, you look over here and you see how I have cloth highlighted in yellow and armor not. If I was to hit post scan right now, it would only post cloth. So you can select and deselect groups, and as you get more groups put in, you can choose what to select. And the reason I had you make that banker toon group full of subgroups is so if you're on another toon, you can take and deselect and it'll unselect everything for your banker toon and not post on that toon. Now to post auctions, we're going to take and select our groups, and you click start post scan. Trade Skill Master will now start scanning to start undercutting people and posting auctions up. And you got a whole list of info that you can read, and it cycles through, and it'll also print out in your chat window. If you have a lot of auctions like I do right now, it's going to fill your chat window up and you won't be able to see everything. And normally it takes about a minute or so depending on the number of auctions you have. Also, while it's scanning, whether it's scanning to post auctions, scanning to get prices, or doing a cancel scan, you cannot alt tab out. It will stop where it was until you bring the window back up. Okay, I've got 150 auctions to confirm. I can start clicking post 150 times, or I can use that macro I showed you and spin my mouse wheel. Spinning the mouse wheel makes things go super quick, because now I posted 150 auctions, and all it has to do is confirm 150 auctions. Trade Skill Master is now posting every single item in those groups that are in my bags. And if you notice on the cloth where it says linen cloth 10, not enough items in bag, that is perfectly normal. That's just Trade Skill Master cycling through on the operations. And there we go. We posted everything in our bags with a post cap limit of 2. So all the remainders in the bags, there is more than 2 in our bags. or it's not grouped. Now we're going to run over to the mailbox real quick so that way I can talk about that mailing feature that I had you install. Open up your mailbox and click the TSM tab, and then go to TSM groups, and you'll see it has a banker tune option. If you're on another tune, you can take and hit mail selected option, and everything you have in those groups will be mailed to your banker tune as long as you entered the correct name. I hope you find this information useful. You now know the basics of Trade Skill Master and how to make groups and options and whatnot, and I hope you start making a lot of gold while farming dungeons. And if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more gold tips and tricks from Weasel Jr. Have a great day.